Queen Camilla showcased her dancing skills as she joined volunteers at a shop dedicated to supporting survivors of sexual violence. This heartwarming moment occurred on the final day of her and King Charles' state visit to Kenya. Their visit concluded with a stop at one of Kenya's most iconic monuments, where they boldly posed in an electric Tuktuk, although they had initially planned to arrive in a local vehicle. Unfortunately, torrential rain thwarted their initial plan. Nevertheless, King Charles and Queen Camilla graciously posed beside the eco-friendly electric Tuktuk outside Fort Jesus, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They hopped inside after the seats were carefully cleaned for their comfort. In a light-hearted moment, King Charles humorously suggested using the Tuktuk to reach the airport, which elicited laughter from those present. Reporters even playfully challenged him to a race, adding to the fun. Surprisingly, the couple learned that the Tuktuk could reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, leaving them wide-eyed and giggling. Their driver, Eunice Karanja, accidentally started the vehicle briefly, adding to the amusement. These electric tuk-tuks, a common form of urban transport in Mombasa, provided a smoother and quieter ride compared to their traditional counterparts. The tuk-tuk they used was adorned with a traditional Kenyan print design and Greek branding, representing an international campaign highlighting the best of Britain. Earlier in the day, Queen Camilla took part in some spirited dancing to support volunteers and survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault at the Situation Room in Mombasa. She joined the Saudi Yawanawake, the voice of women, who sang songs celebrating the power and importance of women in society. Camilla swayed and smiled as she danced, holding hands with the women while they sang traditional African songs. Beldino Chino, a member of Saudi Yawanawake, praised Camilla's warmth and dance moves, emphasizing her positive impact on women and society. The Queen's visit shed light on the alarming statistic that 40% of Kenyan women experience abuse in their lifetime. The Queen received brightly decorated Swahili shawls called leso, each carrying inspiring messages. One expressed gratitude for the love Queen Camilla had shown, while the other encouraged unity and love. These shawls are used by women for protection and coverage during menstruation or childbirth. Millicent Odhiambo, treasurer of Saudi Yawanawake, emphasized the Queen's presence as a symbol of support for African women and the significance of the shawls in their daily lives. Jacqueline Naboko, chief of the Tetra Tech Reinvent program, expressed hope for an exchange of ideas and thoughts between the Queen and Kenyan efforts to address and mitigate violence against women, acknowledging the Queen's passionate work in this field. The royal couple also explored the historical Fort Jesus during their visit. Inside the fort, they used umbrellas to shield themselves from the weather, while learning about its rich architectural history, from Principal Curator Dr. Fatma Touare. Fort Jesus, built by Portuguese settlers in the late 16th century, served as a stronghold to protect the port of Mombasa. It later changed hands to Oman and then Britain, which converted it into a prison in 1895. Ultimately, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2011. As King Charles admired the fort's strategic positioning along the coast, Queen Camilla browsed through local handicraft stalls, capping off their visit to this historically significant landmark. His Majesty King Charles was informed about the effects of climate change on the fort and the measures taken to mitigate associated risks during his recent visit. Alongside him, Queen Camilla engaged with local artists who are preserving cultural practices with support from the UK, and they were treated to a captivating dance performance. This visit marked a successful 4-day state trip to Kenya, the first Commonwealth nation King Charles visited since his accession to the throne. Despite battling torrential rain in Mombasa, the royal couple was greeted with cries of "Long live the King" from enthusiastic crowds, reminiscent of their recent trip to Paris. Their journey to Kenya was at the invitation of Kenyan President William Ruto, celebrating the strong relationship between the two nations, especially as Kenya approaches its 60th year of independence. During their stay, King Charles visited the historic Mandhri Mosque in Mombasa's Old Town. This mosque, founded in 1570, holds the distinction of being East Africa's oldest. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla visited Saudi Yawanawake, or the Voice of Women, at the Situation Room. This vital organization provides support to survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, offering services ranging from counseling to advocacy. The Queen, known for her advocacy work against gender-based violence, met with survivors and learned about the center's efforts in aiding them. Furthermore, the Situation Room also operates a psychosocial support group, which the Queen was briefed on, highlighting the organization's psychosocial therapy support services. They provide survivor kits containing essential items like sanitary protection, shawls, toys, soap, snacks, and grooming items. Additionally, art therapy is employed to counsel child survivors of domestic abuse, and their artwork can serve as evidence in legal proceedings against perpetrators. King Charles's visit to the Mandri Mosque was somewhat shortened due to the inclement weather, but he managed to spend 5 minutes inside, where he learned about the mosque's interfaith dialogue work. The mosque is part of the Coast Interfaith Council of Clerics Trust, CICC, dedicated to maintaining peace and harmony between different religions. King Charles met with prominent figures, including Sheikh Ali Said Al Mandri, the mosque's committee chairperson, who spoke highly of the king's down-to-earth demeanor and their discussions on improving the future for children. In his tour of the mosque, King Charles had the opportunity to view historical artifacts, including a section of the original door dating back to the 16th century and a handwritten copy of the Quran. Mandri Mosque, located minutes away from the Old Port, historically served as a worship center for merchants who brought together travelers from around the world. The king emphasized the shared goal of finding a path to the divine, bringing faith leaders together to address various issues in the Mombasa area. These leaders are part of the Coast Interfaith Council of Clerics, CICC, representing Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and traditional African faiths, working collaboratively to tackle pressing regional concerns. The CICC has a history of involvement in peacebuilding, child protection, countering violent extremism, and promoting public participation and governance for over 2 decades. The king noted the importance of different faiths seeking the same divine path through various routes, emphasizing unity. He inquired about the CICC's efforts to mitigate election violence during the previous year's elections, gaining insight into their conflict reduction initiatives. Following a brief respite from the heavy rain, King Charles and Queen Camilla bid farewell to Mombasa. They departed from the Moi International Airport after meeting the President and First Lady of Kenya. They were escorted through a guard of honor, where they exchanged salutes with the commander of the Kenya Defense Forces and Major General Jimson Yutai, concluding their visit on a dignified note. Despite the humid weather and the bustling local media scrum, King Charles and Queen Camilla maintained their composure as they boarded the RAF Voyager, waving goodbye to their Kenyan hosts. Dear friend, if you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.